Hello and welcome. My name is Julian and I am going to be putting on a movements segment stretch sequence. This is going to be using the dowel where I've placed a mini band on each side for extra grip. This is a mobility snack, so it'll be a short routine. I'm going to do a full-bodied stretch routine where we're going to really feel the depths and the range of motion of what our bodies can move through in space. The main goal is for you to feel awesome. I want you to feel really good, feel open, feel less restricted, less congested, so that you can get on with whatever you need to do today. Whether that's going for a run, going for a weight lift, working, just wanting you to feel really awesome. Let's start. Let's begin first with a couple of stretches for the hamstring. What we're going to do is we're going to take this long dowel, place it on three parts: the tail, the mid-back, and the head. I want you to decrease the space in that lower back and neck so that you can just slide the back of your palm or your palm in there, your hand in there. So we don't want an overarch or an underarch, okay? And from here, we're just gonna practice doing some reps. So you're gonna hinge forward with a slight bend in the knees, get right down so you're parallel. You can use the stick to gauge and see if you can bend all the way forward and then come back up. Now, monitor the roundingness of your back and try your best to keep those three parts attached and pressed into the stick. So my tail, my mid-back, and my head. As you go through more bows forward, I want you to decrease the bend of the knees. So you're gonna really feel that stretch in the hamstrings. But if that stick is coming off the tail, you're gonna have to bend the knees a little bit more. This is also a self-assessment, so it's a great tool to test and retest your hamstring flexibility. Okay, from here we're gonna switch hands, just to give a little bit of balance in the shoulders. So about 8 bows, or at your own pace. This is all about awareness. I do want you to explore as much of your body and achieve your needs when doing these kinds of mobility exploration routines. It's more fun that way, and it's more bespoke, more personalized. All too often we're given instructions step by step, line by line to doing things. Here's a chance to go against that and do a little bit of that guided coaching, but exploration is the key. All right, so we've gotten some hamstring flexibility. From here, we're gonna go into squats. We're gonna take our stick, we're gonna place it down, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna stand on the stick with your heels on it only, okay? And from there, I'm taking a shoulder width stance. With the heels elevated, we release the ankles of their required mobility and range. You're gonna give yourself and your hips a little more assistance. So we're just squatting right down low, nice and deep, holding that position. Try to lift that torso tall. And then from here, rise straight up. Around 8 to 10 reps, squatting down. Let's see if you can use your big toes to really push down as you stand tall. Yeah, there we go. Now you can really feel the power of the arches, or at least the stability of the arches. Monitor your arches so that they don't collapse when you come in, and you do want to keep your knees sort of outwards rather than pulling inwards. My hands are going to come forward, resting onto my thighs as a form of counterbalance. And I want you to feel comfortable in this position and this movement for the hips. We're pulling down into our squat position, nice and tall through the crown of the head. And then the last one, we're gonna hold the down position. So everyone holding down, See if you can put a little more weight into the heels, big toes down, baby toes down, and just hang it out here. Use your elbows to pull the knees apart for a groin stretch. There we go. All right. All right, from here, we're gonna rise. All right, the legs are feeling good. Let's go into some hip flexors, into a lunge position. So I'm gonna take a side view. My stick is gonna go in line with my left toes, and I'm gonna lunge back with my right. I'm gonna take a knee, all right, and then I'm gonna keep my arm gripping as high as possible. So this is a monkey hang. We're gonna push the hips forward a little bit. And we're just gonna breathe into that position. You're gonna lean slightly back. You'll really feel the stretch here. And then from here, we rise up. All right, it's a split squat. We're gonna get that end range stretch when we come down. All right, here we go. Coming down. Oh, feeling that stretch, that elongation through the ribs from the hips and up. When you come at the top, really think about tightening and squeezing all the leg muscles. Mobility, feeling good. We want to create some tension in the body. Then we're from there going to relax and go into some depth. For now, we're using the stick to help us out. Just some basic primal movement patterns or some foundational primal patterns. And let's try one more. You're gonna feel that burn in the quad. And then sink down. And let's tilt the pelvis so that you tuck the tail. And just lean back a little bit more and really get that stretch in the hip crease. Alrighty. Let's switch sides. Right foot forward, left leg back. Left hand is reaching high. And from here, we sink down, feeling that stretch, hanging on to that stick from the top, getting that arm stretch all the way down through the hip flexors, and then rise. Tighten up at the top. Light stretch, really working that range of motion in the hip flexor, and then rise. Sink down nice and deep. Squeeze. Think about squeezing, squishing, shrinking the mat that's underneath you. So you're going to feel that right heel, that front heel pulling down and back, and the back leg, that ball of foot pushing down into the ground and then sliding forward. Let's try a few more reps. Remember, this is a no sweat workout, so if you're getting to that point where you're like, oh my God, Julian, this is really hard, just slow it down. We're gonna hang out here and just feel that stretch. Let's tuck that tail, lean slightly back, grip a little higher. And coming out. All right, upper body. Let's go into the shoulder deltoid and scapula, so the mid back. What we're going to do is take the stick to the left side, and then you're going to take your right arm, hike it up across, and then your left hand's going to come to the high sticky part. And you're going to just drop your shoulders and then slowly slide down, 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 so that you're really diving through down towards the ground, but with your shoulder leading. I'm going to breathe through that, stretch. And from here, we're going to activate it by pulling ourselves upright. Then we push the stick out wide, dive down. Notice how my knees are a little bit offset. My right knee is bent, my left leg is straight. Pull yourself out of it. You're trying to lead that pull and stretch, and also that rise through the shoulder and torso. Coming in the stretch, and then coming out of it. Suggested here is to Exhale towards the movement. Inhale upon rest. Exhale, come out of it. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Right on. Other side. Okay. Grab the stick at shoulder height. Top hand goes at the rubber. We're going to hinge. Now this time my right knee straightens, my left knee bends. I sink down, dive nice and deep, and then rise out. Sometimes you can change up that breath. I like to inhale as I rise and then exhale as I lower. Just to cash in more reps. Oh, that feels really good. Extending the arm right, nice and wide. So again, when we come down, diving down, you're gonna push the stick out wide and really get that wraparound stretch around the shoulder. I'm gonna do one more. Oh yeah. Okay, let's keep the stick on this side. We're gonna go through a shoulder chest stretch. From here, we're gonna hinge forward, hinge, 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 hinge. Feel that stretch along the front shoulder. And in this position, you're gonna stay bent over. Think of yourself as a swimmer. You're gonna take your arm, pull it forward, then pull it wide, and then back. Okay, so you're just kind of wading your hand through that imaginary water, pulling forward and then back. So we're already feeling that stretch by being in this bent over position, and then we're adding this range of motion. So now we're going through different degrees of that shoulder socket, pointing the arm forward and the stick forward, then side and then back. You can readjust the stick as it starts to wander off to the side. And I'm allowing my palm to turn. So my palm is turning in, so it's gripping strong. And then as I work my way back, now my hand is still firmly gripping, and that wrist will be moved in different positions too. So it's really good for the wrist. Good, let's switch. Staff digs into the ground. We hinge forward, bending our hips. Hand can be on the thigh. We're going to take the stick forward and then guide it back and forward at your own pace. If you do feel a deeper stretch and a sensation that just craves for a little more attention and time, go ahead, hang out there. Just feel free to camp out like in this position. I can really feel the front part of my shoulder from a workout on the chest, and I really like that. So I'm gonna just hang there, give it some nice good old deep breaths. See if I can explore a little deeper into the stretch. All right. We are good. Okay, we're going to end off with 3 big bang stretches. Okay. This next big bang stretch is going to be a rotation. So we're going to be using the stick to help us, but it's not going to be the main sort of dependent for our stretch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stick, place it on the inside of my left arch. Okay. I'm going to step really far back with my right leg. From here, I'm going to hinge forward, place my right palm onto the ground for stability. I'm anchoring through that right arm, and then I'm just going to reach as high as I can along that stick. The higher I grip, the more I'm going to feel that. And so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to use the stick to help give me some wingspan. The same time that I've gripped hard, I'm pushing into the ground, and I'm encouraging a twist. I'm going to twist my hip. My right hip is driving down. My left knee and chest are coming in towards each other. I'm going to breathe into that. Just about 5 counts. And I'm going to switch sides. So I'm going to take my left palm, I'm going to place it on the inside of my left foot, and then I'm going to grab nice and high with my right. And from here, let's turn the right heel in. And now we reach high, and then turn the torso so that my chest is almost flush to the stick. So think of this as yoga. We're now getting some assistance, as if a yoga instructor would come along and just start to pull your arm up high. And you're good. All right, come on out of that. Let's switch the legs. I might as well stay on this side. Okay, my left leg is coming back. Take the stick, place it against the right arch. Left palm comes to the ground, and then right hand stays up. Using the stick to push down into the ground as well. Encouraging a light twist. Now everybody's body is different. This stretch you may feel it big time, and then another stretch you may not feel as much. So it really depends on you and obviously your natural inclinations and your body tendencies and the movements that it's used to and the movements that it never does. And this is the beauty of global mobility practice, is that we tap into a full range. Okay, let's switch. Give it a little space for that right palm to come down. You're going to turn the left heel in, and from here we reach high with our left hand, and we hold that stretch. 5. And slowly come out of that stretch. Wonderful. Okay, let's go into a slap shot. I'm going to take the stick, place it behind your shoulder blades. We're going to take a wider stance. We start to hinge. We're going to place the left end of the stick against the ground. Okay, and then from here, you're going to lean back into that stretch. Feel the initial opening of the chest. Yeah, there we go. I want you to shift right and then left. Okay, I'm going to unwrap my elbow, my top elbow, so that now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the stick in the center, and I'm going to lean more into the left side. So this one's a big one for the right shoulder. Oh. And it's going to open up a lot of other things that you probably have never felt before. Okay, so left groin here. Then as I make my way to shift, oh yeah, I'm going to look up. I'm going to feel that big time in my right shoulder, but I'm also feeling it in my right hip. Okay, that's a big one. So let's take the stick out, unplug it, and then slowly rise. All right, let's do the same thing on the other side. Bend the knees and hinge. Place the stick sort of more biased towards the right foot as our initial. Then we're going to shift to the left, feel the groin stretch, and then lean over, untuck and unwrap that left elbow. Lean back into the stick. Okay, from here, I'm going to replace the stick and plug it a little closer to center. I'm going over to the groin stretch, and I shift to the right for that deeper left shoulder and spine. Wow. Breathe. Okay, unplug and slowly come out of that stretch. Okay, and our final stretch here, we're gonna go to a side stretch. So I'm gonna take a crossover stance of my right foot. Let's go left goes over, right foot under. Grabbing the top of the stick here. Now I'm just going to slide my foot further away with my hand right over the top of the stick. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right over top. I'm going to drop the hip. I'm going to really rely a lot on my top hand grip. And I've just dropped the hip in. This is a great, what's called a TFL. So you're getting the outside of the hip, the whole side line. I'm going to play around with slightly rounding myself forward and then opening up and turning. Again, exploration. We found the stretch, the end range of the stretch. Then it's up to you to play around with that position. Just a couple more seconds. Okay. This stuff is like medicine. It's potent. It's really, really potent stuff. All right, so left hand is going to take the top of the stick. I'm going to slide my left leg out to the side. Okay, so that the outside edge of the foot is there. Then I'm going to grab on with grip so that I don't fall. And then I'm going to slowly trust the stick, trust my hand grip, and drop the hip. From here, the armpit is opening big. My left hip is stretching long. It feels really good. And then I'm going to breathe. When we breathe and we deep breath, we deep inhale, you can feel that while you're in that stretch, all these microfibers, this netting starts to expand. We're catching in the fascia. We're pulling that oxygen and we're using the rib cage to expand and stretch these microfibers along the areas of the torso trunk that normally don't get that love. And we come out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a mobility stick stretch sequence. I hope you enjoyed it. We tackled some hinging, some squatting, some lunge and hip flexor. Then we got to the upper body, and then we hit 3 big bang stretches. And that was the sequence. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you feel a little more open and great. Thank you so much. Peace, love, and may the flow be with you.